New developments tonight about the fate of the Jacksonville Landing. Groups are starting to form, fighting back against the city's plan to reclaim the property and tear it all down. So their stance, demolition, isn't the same thing as development. On your sides, Eric Alvarez is joining us live from downtown to explain.
Here at the site of the old City Hall Annex building, where crews are going to be cleaning up the rubble from the demolition for months. Now, with plans to demolish the Jacksonville Landing making their way through City Hall, there could soon be a whole lot more rubble to add to the pile. And that's why some here in Jacksonville are asking the city to pump the brakes.
Tearing down is not development. Tearing down is tearing down. And we are left with a pile of rubble.
Ed Molesky is the president of the Art Center Cooperative, which rents 2 spaces inside the Jacksonville Landing. Last week, the mayor's office announced plans to reclaim the property and tear it down, leaving Molesky with no choice but to plan his future quickly, something he says the city isn't doing. Last week's announcement sets aside $15 million to reclaim the property from Jacksonville Landing Investments, $1.5 million to relocate tenants, and another $1.5 million for the demolition. It doesn't say anything about what will replace the landing or who will pay for it.
So the idea of tearing it down without a new plan to replace it just doesn't make sense.
He's not alone. This Change.org petition says the demolition is not a win for the taxpayers and asks the city council to deny demolition of the landing until a clear, suitable vision is achieved. The city government has not elaborated on any concrete plans for the landing site or for the site here at the old City Hall Annex building, leaving some residents to wonder if there's any plan for the future of Jacksonville at all.
I don't know if we've ever really sat down and determined where we want this city to be.
Now, just because there's not a clear and solid plan for the future of these sites doesn't mean there aren't options. Next on First Coast News at 6, what the mayor has said in the past he'd like to see, plus one proposal that promises to bring hundreds of thousands of people to downtown each and every year. Eric Alvarez, First Coast News, on your side.